Today I'm going to show you guys the very beginning steps of drawing with 1-point perspective. The easiest way that I've learned to create that is to start first by just drawing boxes. And with 1-point perspective, you only have one vanishing point. Okay, this is how you spell the word vanishing point. Now, this is to create the illusion of a real three-dimensional object. You can have multiple vanishing points, and I'm going to get into that further along in other videos. But today we're going to start with just the beginning steps of 1-point perspective. Now, you essentially are the vanishing point, and depending on where objects are around you depends on how many sides of an object that you see. So start out first by drawing a rectangle directly below the vanishing point. Now, at any time you need me to pause the video to catch on, please do so. Now, when you are drawing with perspective, you are always going to be using a ruler to draw your straight lines, and you're going to be looking at edges of the shapes that you're drawing. So I'm going to create 2 lines that are straight going towards the vanishing point. Now, there is a rule. Anytime the lines would draw on top of the shape, you do not draw those. Okay, now unless it's a glass box, but today we're not going to be drawing glass boxes. We're drawing solid cardboard boxes, if you'd like to say. So I like to draw these lines really lightly so that I can erase them later, and then you can always darken them later with a marker or pen. Now, in order to create the back edge, you need to know what a parallel line is. And a parallel line is 2 lines that do not intersect. So I'm going to take this edge, this box, and I'm going to slowly push the ruler back so I can create another edge to that box that's parallel to the front edge. And then I'm going to darken those in. And you can erase these lines if you would like to. Now, this is a 3-dimensional box as though it would be sitting below your perspective, okay? Like sitting on a table that's below your eyes. You're only gonna see 2 sides of that box when it's directly in front of you and below. Now, if I were to draw one here, you would see the underside. It's like a floating box, okay? We're going to start and draw another one on the bottom right. I want you to create another rectangular square. Oops. Then you're going to connect the edges or the corners of that box with the vanishing point. I like to put my pencil on the vanishing point, and then I can use my ruler in kind of a pivoting fashion. Sometimes when you try to line up things, your pencil lines are a little bit off. So that's how I like to do it. Now you can see you are actually going to be seeing 3 sides of this square from this perspective. And in order to create the 3-dimensional sides, you're going to line up your ruler with the edge here. I'm going to pull it back. So I have a parallel line to this edge. Make sure that it is definitely vertical. And then this one is a horizontal edge. I'm going to pull this back so that it's also parallel and horizontal. If you'd like to darken in those edges again so it stands out, you can do that. And sometimes just coloring it in makes a big difference. All right. So hopefully you're starting to figure it out a little bit. You know, as a reminder, we didn't do this edge because it would cross over the shape, and we don't want to do that. That's like one of those exceptions that you don't do. All right, now we've done squares with edges and corners, but what happens when you do something like a circle? All right, so a lot of times I will tell my students to draw a circle. You're gonna kind of get your hand going in a circular motion, and you're gonna do a couple rotations of that circle, and you'll get a pretty decent shape. You know, you can perfect it after you get that, but trying to draw a circle perfect is almost near impossible. You could also just use a random object laying around the house and trace over it if you'd like to do that. All right, now, just like the edges, we are going to connect the vanishing point with the edge of the circle. Now, you want to make sure that it goes to the outer edge. If it goes a little too close in, the illusion isn't gonna work. So make sure that you have those lines hitting the edge. It's almost like an alligator squeezing it, chomping on a big ball or something. Now, I've got this circle here, and as we did with the shape below, we looked at the edge and we had to create a parallel line to that edge. So this case, this is a curve. All right, now same thing, you're going to create a curve that is parallel to this one. A lot of times I'll have students who don't make that curve dramatic enough. So you really want to look at how much it's curving in order to get that illusion. Now, right now we've got a flying cylinder, but anytime you draw something, you're gonna start out with a basic shape. So let's pretend we're gonna make this a rocket, okay? We're gonna put a cone on top of this cylinder. We'll make like a bottle rocket. You wanna find the middle of your circle so you can figure out where the tip of your rocket is going to be. And that middle will come from the vanishing point. That's how I knew where to find that. So now I have this cone shape as the top of the rocket. Now I like to shade it in a little bit just to kind of give it a little bit more, to make it a little bit clearer and cleaner. All right, now fins. On the outer edge of your rocket, you're going to probably have some fins that are angled coming off of it, and you have a rocket. Now let's say you wanted to create words coming out from, now what I like to do is I'm gonna draw the tops and the bottoms of the words that go with the vanishing point. And I'm gonna say, we're just gonna color it red. I'm gonna let the words curve because the words are going wrapped around a cylinder. So your words are still gonna be curving, and they're also going to be coming off the vanishing point. So the horizontal lines of the E are still gonna go towards the vanishing point, even though it's wrapped around a cylinder. You can add some flames if you want. Get detail. Now you could do any other cylinder. You could make a flying crayon if you wanted to. You could make a Coca-Cola bottle or a Coke can or something like that. So think of some other objects that you could practice trying to draw with perspective that could just be a basic cylinder. All right, one of my favorite things to do at this point is to start with letters. You guys are going to be doing presentations for the rest of your life in school and even in your career, and you can create a lot of really nice presentations with 3D lettering. So the easiest thing to start to draw is an L. I'm going to create my rectangle L. I do want my L to be below my vanishing point so that I can see the top of the letter, but I'll do another one in a minute over here where you can see how you're only gonna see the sides. All right, now, just like the shapes, you're gonna take your edges and you're gonna connect them to that vanishing point, even the inside of that L. Draw lightly so that you can eventually erase. And again, I'm not doing this one because it's gonna cross over the shape. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Start out with the top edge. It's a horizontal line, so you're gonna create a parallel line that's horizontal to that one. Now, this is where you get to decide how fat you want that letter to be. So the first line you make determines the thickness of this three-dimensional letter. This is a vertical line, so this one's gonna connect to the one we just drew, and it's gonna be vertical. Horizontal line. You're gonna continue on until you've created the edges of all of your shapes. All right, there's your L. Let's do one where if you do one right here, we're gonna do like, let's say we do the letter E. I've gotten pretty good at just freehanding letters. Now I'm lining it up so that it is, you can see it from the side. We're gonna do the corners. This one's kind of like the top of this box, but it's right in front of that vanishing point. So you're not gonna see that one. You're not gonna see this one as much. Let's see. Yeah, you might see it a little bit. You're not gonna see that one. You will see this one a little bit, but just a sliver. So you don't see much of that letter because it's literally sitting next to the L. If it was up above, you'd see the underside. If it was below, you'd see the top. So wherever you put your letters determines the perspective that you're going to see.